recording as well. So if you guys miss any of the Zooms are not mandatory. I always record them and I will have them posted. Normally I try to get them on later that night after we do the Zoom, so you guys can pull them up. Usually it's no later than the very next morning. So one thing really before I jump into the syllabus and the course too, for those of you that have not had me before, I realize you are working adults. You have a lot of things going on, work, family, life happens. I understand that. I get it. And so through this course, the only thing that I ask is that you just communicate with me as some things are going on. If you hit some bumps in the road, you see that you're going to have some troubles, maybe meeting a deadline for an assignment, just email me and communicate with me. I will work with you as long as you communicate in advance. Okay. Don't wait till an assignment's due Sunday at midnight and send me an email Sunday at 10:30. Let me know that you're struggling. So communicate that in advance and I'll work with you. Okay. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about the course. This is 804. It's dealing with behavioral management. So there are going to be several things that we'll do through this 8 weeks. Many of you may be new to an 8-week format in the fall semester because or you maybe haven't had many summer classes where you did an 8-week format. So Fort Hays has transitioned these over to 8-week in the spring and the fall. So things move pretty quick. Okay, so I just kind of want to go over some of the assignments, projects we're going to work on so you can kind of learn how to pace yourself. The readings I posted in the syllabus, your textbooks, you can do the online version. You can rent that if you want. You don't have to go out and spend, $100, $150 on a book. You can rent the online version and that will work for this. So really for this first week, the things you're going to need to do is go in and do the discussion board, basically introduce yourself. You're going to need to go in and do a self-enroll in the groups. So you can start working with, after this week, group members and communicating with them to do the functional behavioral assessment and the behavioral intervention plan. Those will be the 2 big things that we will do throughout this course in the 8 weeks, is learning how to do that. So the ones of you that enroll this class, have several of you been a part of a functional behavioral assessment before in your district now, in the role that you're in, or a behavioral intervention plan? And you guys been involved in that or got to observe how that process works? No, seeing head shake. So, okay, so this will be a new experience for you. It is a process. These will be the projects we'll do in this course. This 8 weeks is kind of a condensed version of the functional behavioral assessment and also the behavioral intervention plan. So it's going to be kind of a condensed snapshot view of that process, but at least to give you some ideas how that works. Also, there will be an assignment coming up. We'll start on it next week. It's called Can't Do, Won't Do assignment. It's a pretty simplistic assignment, but it will give you some ideas on working with SPED students to determine whether they really can't do it, meaning they don't have the skill set, or they just literally won't do it by choice. Okay, so by doing this assignment in previous semesters, a lot of graduate students really kind of enjoyed doing that because it was something that was quick. It was pretty easy to determine whether that student truly did not have the ability or if they simply were just choosing not to do it. And so it's a really quick way to determine the overall skill set ability of the students that you work with. Also, within this course, you're going to have to log in some practicum hours of working with students in your classroom setting at your job now, and logging in any interactions you have with them in dealing with or trying to correct any type of behavioral issue in that classroom. Also, through observation, you can log in time of observing students in classrooms that are exhibiting some behavior problems, whether you're directly involved in it or indirectly involved in it. You can log those hours in. If you are in a regular education classroom at this point, I've had some in 805 that are. If you are in that situation, you can include interactions or encounters that you have in your regular ed classroom as well to document. So anything that's behavioral related, you can document for this, but you're going to have, within the 8 weeks, you'll have 50 hours to log in. Okay. So just be aware of that throughout the day. Just kind of make note on it. You will submit, we'll break it down. So after the 4th week, you'll submit one that shows 24 or 25 hours. And then at the end of the 8th week, when you conclude this, you'll submit the second half practicum template to show your second half or your 25 for the second half of the class. Okay. And there'll be some questions that you will have to reflect on with that practicum log when you submit those, just based on your observations and experiences as you were logging in those hours. There is a practicum template provided in the course shell for you to use. And so make sure that you're logging those in. I would start as of this week. If you need to go back and start thinking about experiences or encounters you had even before this meeting tonight, start jotting those down, make a note of them so you can log those in on your practicum log. Okay. As I mentioned, the big project, and we will get into talking about that next week when we do Zoom. Also about drafting a lesson plan as well that will correlate with the FBA. So we'll get into that in more detail. We have a specific lesson plan template that we're going to ask you to use. You will see this template used throughout your courses. We've tried to make it to where it's consistent amongst all the instructors across the board. That will also help you as you progress through the program and prepare for the PPAT. If you are used to utilizing our lesson plan templates, you'll be fine when it comes up time to do the PPAT and experience that later on in your program. Okay. You will have a few discussion activities on discussion board. You'll have one that's going on right now. It's basically going on and introducing yourself, telling a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, so people in the course can find out a little bit about you. Then there will be a discussion activity that will be due on Sunday the 4th as well. They'll be posted in Blackboard. And then also, as we progress through the course, you'll see there's discussion activity 3. Some of these on the syllabus, as you look through, you will have to submit a draft copy of a lesson plan. Okay. You'll see on Sunday the 4th, you'll have a draft that'll come up due, and literally you're just going to submit it. I'm just going to kind of review it, and I'll give you some feedback on it, send it back to you, and then you can take it from there and prepare your final, make any adjustments that you'll need for your final lesson plan. Okay. Each week you'll see, according to the syllabus, you'll have different readings. Again, those are going to be on your time. We will go over some, review those. I'll have some PowerPoints when we do these Zoom sessions to kind of highlight some of the main points for you. Again, with this being an 8-week course, we've had to condense it down quite a bit. Also, as we get closer, and I will break it down more in detail. Again, just kind of want to go over a broad overview tonight. You're going to have you will have to video yourself teaching the lesson plan that you designed from the previous week. This will be coming up due on September the 18th, where you present the video. And there will be some things where we'll go back and do some review on it, maybe a little bit of critique as well. The interesting part about the video section of you teaching the lesson plan that we have discovered, where students, they have to do a little bit of self-critique on this as well. and I've told students in the past, it's really a great tool, because if you think about it, coaches, athletic coaches have done this for years. They video their classroom environment, their teaching environment is football field, the basketball court, the baseball field, whatever it may be that they're coaching. They always go back and they review video of how their kids performed. And it's really interesting how you can pick up different things. I've had graduate students say, oh my gosh, I never realized there were so many distractions in the background. And they determined I really felt like that was leading to my students' ongoing behavioral issues, too many distractions. That goes along with his disability or her disability. Or an interesting point that came out back in the spring, one of the students told me, he's like, hey, I never realized my body language. She said, I look like I'm mad at the world when I'm up there. She said, no wonder I have a hard time building relationships in my classroom. She's like, I wouldn't like myself if I was in my classroom. So you pick up on a lot of little things, whether it's body language, distractions in the background. You also can pick up on interruptions. Had graduate students say, I never realized I had this many disruptions, and then they wondered why they couldn't ever get through a lesson. Okay, so it really benefits you to go back and look at those, and we'll talk about them after you submit them. Okay, then the last few weeks of this course we'll be working together in your groups that you signed up for to write your formal FBA and behavioral intervention plan. And you'll see that will take place where we spend time working together as a group on Zoom and reviewing and working our way through it. A lot of that will occur in Zoom sessions on weeks 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so it's sitting like where we're going to throw this at you and you're on your own. We will have time later on down in like weeks 6, 7, and 8, where we will spend time on Zoom working through that, answering questions and making sure you guys are on the right track. In between those weeks, if your group you feel like are struggling or maybe you've hit a roadblock, you can email it to me. I'll review it, look at it. I can meet with you as a small group to go over some things to kind of help you through that process. Okay. Any questions on that? A lot of information. Melissa just got a wealth of information earlier in 8:05. I threw a lot of it at them in a short amount of time. So just again, the 8-week format is new for a lot of you. And just the one thing I'm going to tell you is take just one step at a time. Don't automatically start looking toward the end and see everything and let it overwhelm you to where you get frustrated and go into panic mode. It's just literally 1 week at a time. All right.
I have a question. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
maybe my not knowing Blackboard and being new to that. But I don't really know how to do some things like enroll in groups.
Okay.
Like how to enroll.
No problem. Then I'm going to do a stop share on this and switch over to see if I can get over to my Blackboard here without dropping everything. There we go. So can everybody see my screen? Okay, good. So literally I'm just in the shell right now. So I clicked over here. Literally I went and clicked on syllabus and schedule. You're going to see two things here just to kind of give you an idea. If you want the quick snapshot view without having to go through pages of that syllabus to keep up with assignments and kind of stay on track, I also posted, it says schedule SPED 804. It is a short version of the syllabus. Literally provides you the page that shows you the breakdown by week and assignments. So that's a good document to have to keep you from having to scroll through a lot of pages. So I just point that out to you. Your learning modules, Leslie, you'll see module 1, literally in the 8-week course, it's broken down into 2 modules. Module 1 will be August or weeks 1 through 3. Module 2, which is where we're going to dive into the FBA and behavioral intervention plan, will be weeks 4 through 8. That's what we're dedicating time on Zoom to kind of work through that together and make sure you guys are understanding it. So if you click on module 1, you'll see it shows week 1, your week 2, week 3. You can click on week 1 here. Shows your assigned readings. Introduce yourself. This will take you to the link in discussion board. Okay, you'll get point. That's easy points for you right there. Okay, you'll go down. Shows you select groups. On the left, do you see my cursor over here? Right here. This is where you're going to enroll in your groups. Right here. You'll click on it. You're going to see with the number of students enrolled, I just split it into 5 groups. And I put a limit of like 4 students in each group. You get more than 4 in there and it gets to be kind of chaotic, okay? But I looked at the number of students enrolled in the course and kind of divided up. So you literally can go click on one. Look, group 1, we've already got 1 enrolled. Someone's already enrolled, which is fine. So when that group reaches 4, it won't allow anyone else to enroll in it. Okay? Everybody good there up to that point?
Yes, thank you.
Bessie? Okay, okay. The discussion board, you can also, Leslie, get into it from module 1, inside module 1, which I showed you all ago. Also, you can do it over here right above where I clicked on groups. If you go up, you'll see a discussion board tab right there. It'll take me right to the discussion board right here. Okay. And literally, you'll just introduce yourself. So groups, your assignments, you'll see discussion board, your practicum log, templates right here. You'll see if you click on this Word document right here, I've got my cursor, you can literally, it'll open up for you. You're going to see it's going to open up in Word, and this is the template. You can add lines as you go. Okay, because you'll need to add more lines. Obviously, it just gives you the basic template here. So you're going to have 50 total hours, but I'm going to divide it into where you'll submit. You'll have one submission that's going to be 25, and then come back and do a second submission at the end of the 8th week. That'll give you your 50 hours. Oh, let me get back over.
But you want that all on one sheet, right?
You can do all one if you want, if it's easier for you to do that, or you can do 2 separate sheets, one for the first submission and one for the second. Okay, I will be able to go in and see if you do 2. I'll be able to go in and see that you hit your 50 hours. I'll monitor that as you submit those. Okay.
Right. And you want it typed in or handwritten, or does it matter?
You can handwrite it and then scan it and upload it, or if you want to type it and submit it like that, either way is fine with me.
Don't we have to have an administrator sign off on it?
You do. You need to have your
Okay,
building. It could be a special ed director if you need to, or a building level principal.
Well, since I'm in a gen ed class this year, it'd probably be the principal, right?
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Okay.
You're right. Thank you. Good question.
I have another question.
Yeah.
I'm in a self-contained room the whole entire time. I'm the head teacher in that room.
Okay.
So I rack up hours like none other.
Oh yeah,
You want me to space out the hours so I can have
you
Okay.
can. Yes.
funds, or can I get them all done within 2 weeks?
Just kind of space them out if
Okay.
you would. Okay. Gen
Okay.
Ed, you'll kind of have a little bit of an advantage because you're with them. I'm sure it's self-contained all day, same group. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just kind of space them out on your situation.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, let me go back. So I'm back in the assignments page. So I just showed you the practicum log. Here, we get into the can't do, won't do assignment. Here's a worksheet for it, where you can kind of track that student. Here explains the steps. It's about a 7-step process. Okay, it's a very, I mentioned a while ago, it's a very simplistic process, very easy to do, but you can get quite a bit of information quickly out of it to determine whether they don't have the skill set, or literally if they're just choosing not to do it. Lesson plan assignment. You have your templates here for the lesson plan. It'll open up in Word. Literally, you can go in and start typing your information in this Word template and then save it, save as. So you'll have it, okay? So this is kind of a uniform lesson plan that we're using in all of our courses. Again, we chose this one to maintain consistency amongst all of us and also better prepare you for the PPAT that you'll have to do later in the course. Let me go back over so I can make sure you. Okay, then we'll spend time in here again from about week 6, 7, and 8. You'll have your functional behavior assessment, the grading rubric, and the assignment instructions are right here. Provide you these 2 documents. Down here, it gives you the templates for your data collection, whether you're doing time sampling, scatter plots, minute intervals, your interview forms, all the documents that we're going to need to conduct that functional behavior assessment are going to be found right here. Okay, so going back, you'll see it when you click on the FBA assignment instructions. As we get closer to that, I will go in and spend dedicated time specifically on this. I just kind of wanted to show you tonight where everything's at, okay? Back up. We'll roll around down, and then the next one we'll do will be the behavioral intervention plan assignment. Again, the intervention plan form is here, the rubric, what we're going to be looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up the Word template form for the behavior intervention plan. And this is literally it. This is the form that we use to start formulating that plan. Okay, we got to go in and describe target behaviors, the functions of the behavior, identify. Here it gives you the directions, right? Clear descriptions of the function that the target behavior is serving. The intervention, this is where we're going to go in and describe and list all the interventions that were deployed to try to change that student's behavior. We're going to list instructional interventions, consequential interventions, and replacement behavior. And then the last part will be areas of concern. Again, we will work through that together collaboratively. It's not just throwing it out there at you. I just kind of want to show you what the template and the plans look like, so you'll have somewhat of an idea, and also where to locate those. Okay, Leslie, does that help you feel a little bit more comfortable with Blackboard and kind of knowing where all the templates are and the information?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Resources, okay. So if you're fairly new to Blackboard, sometimes it can kind of be overwhelming trying to locate all the information in there. Again, you will also, it will give you places where you submit down right below. So here we got into the behavior plan. I just kind of went over that, showed you the templates. Right below it, when it's time to submit it, you'll literally click on submit. I've got to change that due date. No, that's right. I'm losing my mind here. I started to say, wait a minute, I'm having a hard time getting used to fall 8 weeks. So that's an adjustment for me as well. Here is where you actually would submit that. So you'll have that Word template. You saved it on your desktop. Literally, you're going to here, browse for the file. You'll hit upload and then go right down here at the bottom right, hit submit. It's that easy. Okay. So for each one of those assignments, right below, you'll see a submit tab where you upload it. Okay, there will be some gaps of time in between some of these assignments where you may not have anything specific to do because you're in the process of working on the FBA or the behavioral intervention plan. Any questions on that? Kind of the overview on what we're going to be doing. So literally right now, starting off this course is going in and making sure that you get self-enrolled in the group. Okay, you'll find that on the left-hand column of Blackboard. I would advise you to go ahead and kind of get enrolled in a group, get familiar with your group members, do the introduction on Blackboard, and make sure that introduction is submitted by Sunday at midnight. If you'll notice, all the assignments I've got on there, I always have mine due on a Sunday at midnight. That way, if you have a rough week, gives you that weekend, a little bit of wiggle room there to try to finish things up. So I always have them due on Sunday at midnight. I will watch Blackboard a lot of times. If by chance you happen to submit earlier, I always try to stay up on grading. So if you do submit, I'll go ahead and grade that, get it back to you. Okay, if you submit on like a Thursday or a Friday. Again, go ahead and start logging in your practicum hours. You can go back to time from the beginning of this school year. Some of you may have only been in 3, 4, 5 days. Some of you might have been in 2 weeks. Everybody's got a different start date, but you can go ahead and start documenting some of the things that you've encountered from the first day of school up till now. Okay. Any other questions you guys might have?
On the groups, do we try to be with the grade level we're teaching in, or does it matter?
It doesn't really necessarily matter on this. We're just, it's working on the overall process. It's not necessarily really focusing so much on trying to get in grade level groups.
Okay.
All right. Again, I mentioned in 805, those of you that were with me a while ago, these group assignments for some of these courses, the purpose of that is to get you used to working with groups of people. In special education, that's part of it. You're going to have to work with groups, whether it's in IEP meetings. The group becomes larger, especially there's more people at the table when you're doing a MEGS meeting. So that's a lot of it. That's a lot of special education is working with a lot of people. Okay, you're going to have to get used to working with multiple gen ed teachers, working with the parents, working with the administrator, and then you're going to have them all there together sitting around a table when you come in to do your annual reviews. So again, that's part of the purpose of doing some of these group assignments. Okay. Again, I would encourage you, as soon as we get off here, make sure you go in and sign up for a group. Might be a good thing if it's someone that you really haven't worked with before, or maybe aren't as familiar. Whether you want to start kind of emailing back and forth. I've had other groups where they may say, hey, let's do a quick Zoom touch base and just kind of talk about it and maybe get to know each other and spend about 10 minutes doing that, because you're going to be communicating with them quite a bit through the 8 weeks. So if you choose to do that, that's great. Okay. Guys, I'll mention too, I can't remember if I've told you this, my 2 classes are running together. I always check emails early in the morning. Okay. I'm an early morning guy. I like to get in there and check those. And then I always come back sometime right after 5 o'clock and I'll check again in the afternoon. So if you send me something mid-morning, early afternoon, no, I'll get to it. Usually it's right after 5 o'clock and try to respond to those. So don't ever hesitate to email if you have questions. Another thing, I always tell groups, especially if it's a group or individual, if you hit a roadblock on some of these assignments and projects, and you just have a mental block and not seeing some things, reach out to me. I'll set up a Zoom, meet with your group, do a quick Zoom touch base, or do an individual Zoom with you if we need to help you get through that roadblock on an assignment you might run into. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Clear as mud. All right, Melissa, it's a lot in one night, right? A lot going on. 2 classes back to back, 8:05, a couple other ones doing that, huh?
I think I didn't think it through.
Hey, you can do it again, one step at a time. Just take a big deep breath. It's a doable thing. You'll get through it. I'll work with you on it. Okay. All right.
Because when I planned this, I wasn't planning on moving in the process.
Oh, got a lot of other things going on.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
moved back to Oklahoma.
Okay, where you at?
I'm back at Hooker.
Oh, okay, out in the Panhandle. Yeah.
And so I was planning on being in Scott City still,
Okay.
but I didn't want to live there alone because my husband took a job in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So now I'm back in Oklahoma and driving, and I'm teaching a gen ed class this year.
Okay.
So I don't feel like I've got enough time to do it all.
Yeah. We'll work through it. Okay.
Appreciate that. I do.
One step at a time. Just take a deep breath and we'll make it happen.
Okay.
Okay, guys, if you have questions after tonight, just email me, communicate again. If things come up with work, family things going on, and we're getting close to a deadline and you're seeing that you're going to struggle, just make sure you communicate. Let me know. Okay, I'll work with you. All right. Everyone feel good so far? Going to ease into this. Okay. All right. I'll look forward to seeing you next Thursday evening and we'll dive into it a little bit deeper. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good week. Bye-bye.